Welcome to the Human Together podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jason Floyd. Human Together is a show that is centered on humanity to create understanding and appreciation for individuals and groups that are both informative and thought-provoking. Hello, everyone. I hope you're staying safe and keeping your sanity during these COVID-19 shutdowns. I want to thank everybody for listening to Season 3 of the Human Together podcast so far. Getting close to the end of the season, but I appreciate all you listeners, especially those that tuned in for the special shows throughout the season that I did concerning the pandemic and the shutdowns. I would also like to thank you, the listeners, for reaching out to me and giving me ideas about shows. That is the case for today as I interview Autism Oklahoma. That idea was actually given to me by a coworker, Afton, who wanted to know if I had ever heard about Invisible Layers films. And I didn't, ironically, and I wanted to learn more. And so that's the reason that I invited our two guests today. Today I have Melinda Lauffenburger, who is the Executive Director of Autism Oklahoma, and Zach Davis, who runs the Invisible Layers film arm of the Autism Oklahoma. If you have any ideas of individuals or groups or organizations that you want people to know more about, please reach out to me. You can email me at floyds0505@att.net or reach out to me through the social media sites that the podcast is presented on. Welcome to the Human Together podcast show. I have Melinda Lauffenburger, the Executive Director of Autism Oklahoma, and Zach Davis, a branch of Autism Oklahoma, and he's the Director of Invisible Layers. Welcome to the show. Melinda, tell me about Autism Oklahoma and how it all got started.
Well, Autism Oklahoma started when there was a group of parents that wanted to help their kid to have a quality of life in Oklahoma. So we kind of banded together and decided what programming would be helpful for families, for parents, for kids with autism, and to just have a better quality of life here in Oklahoma.
Your daughter is on the autism spectrum?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, when we discovered that Joy had autism, there really wasn't any programming in Oklahoma. So me and another mom just started a what we called a parent support group at that time. Now we call them connection circles. But we started a group at the library, and we started with two of us, and pretty soon there were 50, then 100, then 150. And so we really tapped into a great need. This is one of those scenarios where you never thought you'd be doing what you're doing. We had no intention of forming a nonprofit or doing anything like that. But the need was so great that we just felt like, golly, we just need to see how we can help our kid and a few others and see if that kind of philosophy resonates with other parents so that we could really collaborate and create programming here in Oklahoma that makes a difference.
True grassroots effort.
Yes, really? Very much.
So you're set up as a nonprofit, correct?
Yes, we are. We set up as a nonprofit. We serve about 4,500 families every year. We run about 800 volunteers, and we have about 125 different programs that we offer, 40 of which are outreach programs that reach up to 10,000 people in our state. It's really caught on a significant population within Oklahoma.
Tell me a little bit more about some of the events and activities that are offered through Autism Oklahoma.
Okay, our signature event is called the Peace Walk. We hold it in Oklahoma City and in Tulsa. And it's really a chance for the community of people affected by autism and their families to have a voice, to really come together and to unite in a way very physically, to have a voice and to speak to our community about what it is we do and to really have a presence. Of course, that's been really affected by the stuff with COVID. So this year, our Peace Walk in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, in Tulsa, has been delayed significantly. It usually is in May, and this year we're having both events in August, which is new for us. We've changed locations, and we hope that the Peace Walk is better than ever. And this is just a big part of the culture at Autism Oklahoma is to bring all the families together. We usually have about 8,000 people between the two cities.
Where did those take place at, specifically in Oklahoma City and Tulsa?
This year, we've moved the Peace Walk to Scissortail Park on August 8th. The Tulsa event is at River Park West in Tulsa on August the 1st. Those events will be held in the evening now too. So we usually have them in the morning, so we're moving to the evening. We're moving locations, so we're really shaking it up quite a bit. And the events will also have resource fairs so that families can find resources in their city for different professional services and different groups that serve the autistic population, so that that can be more accessible to them too. So it's a great event.
The key is you're continuing it, and that's the neat
Yes.
part of it. You're not giving up on your signature event. So that's
Right.
the year that you're doing that. So I wish you
Yeah.
the best of luck on that. It's going to be
Thank
a little
you.
bit hotter time of year during that
Yes.
time.
It is. It is. And we've had to discontinue our connection circles, and we're trying to do those now via Zoom. And then, of course, invisible layers and bees knees, and a lot of our other programs, our social groups, our bowling events, which these are things we have every month. All of those have been suspended. So, and we're having to do them on Zoom formats or in a different format. It's really been difficult.
I can imagine. So you mentioned invisible layers. Zach, can you offer some information about that program?
Sure. Invisible Layers is a pre-employment program for young adults on the spectrum who are kind of interested in filmmaking and media. I kind of teach everything from screenwriting, storytelling, cinematography, editing, kind of run the gamut, kind of learn the whole process of filmmaking through pre-production, production and post-production. And it's really just kind of to help the students get skills and gain confidence so they can go out and, live their dream making media.
How did you develop the name Invisible Layers Productions?
I was interviewing a parent, a young boy who was on the spectrum. It was after the shoot, and I was talking to the mother, and she was kind of just telling me about her son. And she'd mentioned that he had very unique eating requirements, which is not unnormal for kids on the spectrum. But I inquired, and I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, he'll eat sandwiches because he can see all the layers of a sandwich, but he won't eat things like soup. And I was like, why won't he eat soup? She goes, because he says they have invisible layers and he can't see them. And so he doesn't like to eat those things. And so I thought that was very kind of a nice metaphor for when you kind of encounter, people on the spectrum. You can't see everything that's going on. They have all these invisible layers that, most people can't see unless you take the time to really get to know them, spend time with them, and, kind of learn about who they are as a person. And then you get to see everything. So I thought that was a great name for the program, Invisible Layers.
Pretty apropos for what you guys believe in and the services that you offered. It really nailed it. That's a great name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty lucky.
Does Autism Oklahoma have a physical location? If so, what takes place there?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. We have been in Midtown for the last 5 years in a warehouse down there. And in this spring, we are moving to 7725 Connect, which is on the west side of town, across the street from the outlet mall. And we're moving to within that business community. And we're really excited about it. There's a lot of opportunities for us to socialize with the businesses that exist in that community. Also, they have things like a big food court and a big workout facility and some things and a big auditorium, which we'll be able to incorporate into our programming by operating out of that location. So we're really excited about this reboot that's happening this spring.
So you're slated to move there in the springtime then? Or
yes. Yeah, we're actually waiting on, when enough of the being close to people is lifted so that we can move, because it's going to take a little troop of people to get us moved.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we'll have programming like Invisible Layers. We'll have a lot of art programs. We're going to actually do some video taping of education materials for some of our connection circles, and we've got a lot of things planned once we get moved to that location. And we'll have the green tea there. Some of our kind of our landmark programs that everybody looks forward to each year will just be moving to that location. And I think it'll be a good time.
It really speaks to the growth of your organization. You're moving upwards and onwards. So that's a great sign.
Yeah. I think it'll be fun.
Zach, I want to come back to you about a wonderful film you created. through Invisible Layers titled Even in Death. It is, in my mind, a truly amazing piece of work. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and where it's available at?
And thank you. So the film, we'd been a program for a while, and a lot of students were really interested in animation and art, and so kind of got this idea. It's like, well, why don't we make a short film and try to do an animated short film? So we because everyone in Invisible Layers is not an artist, so we had to kind of recruit within Autism Oklahoma, some of the artists and people, that are talented in other areas besides filmmaking to come in and help us do this. So we kind of broke it up into the illustration, the animation, and the sound design. So it was kind of like different camps for different students. And so, we would take a period of time, and like all the students would work in Photoshop and learn to draw. We brought in some industry professionals to help kind of teach some of the techniques in Photoshop. And then after that camp was done, we brought it into the animation phase, and I taught the students animation. And so we would take the scenes from the illustration camp and bring those right over and begin animating. And then after that, we went to the sound camp and then designed all the sound for it, and did scoring and things of that nature, and then just kind of put it all together. We sent it off to film festivals so they could, all the students could kind of run the film festival circuit and have that experience. And it did really well, won at Dead Center, and a number of other ones. We got into Tulsa, won Bare Bones, went to LA. What is the name of that festival, Melinda? I always forget. Autfest. Yeah. Autfest. Yeah. And so we got into Autfest, which was in LA. We won there, but it was really neat because like Pixar was there, Ben Affleck was there. So it was very, felt red carpety famous type, film festival. So it was really neat. And then after that, we released it on YouTube. So you can find it on Autism Oklahoma's website under like the film programs, or you can go on our YouTube, Autism Oklahoma's YouTube, and find it.
I encourage everybody to go watch that because it's really a unique film and animation, something that I was not familiar with, and it's a format that I had not seen. So I encourage you to check it out. It's really great. So it's my experience. When you went to California, did you take some of the filmmakers, the autistic filmmakers?
Oh yeah, we flew. How many would you say, Melinda? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know, like 7. I don't know. Yeah,
it was a decent sized group. Yeah. We, anyone who could go, we kind of like created the opportunity, and so I think about 7 were able to go. So yeah, we took a good handful of students out there to just have that experience.
There's probably 15 of us in all, and probably 7 on the spectrum. But what's really cool about the program that Zach does, and then all of our programs, what we really try to do is create an opportunity that somebody might not otherwise have, and give them a chance to really show themselves and what they can do, and to gain confidence. And that's what we've seen with the Invisible Layers program, is kids that were otherwise just staying at home, maybe being isolated, not doing much, and now they're flying to LA, to show their film. And what a difference that makes in just how you see life, and what you feel, what you feel your strengths are, and what just your self-confidence and your self-esteem. And we've seen so many friendships form. It's been a real life game changer for a lot of people. And Zach's done a great job of managing that.
Just from the social aspect, it seems like your organization has really grown people's social aspects and being connected to other people. So from that point of view, I think it's been awesome. So Zach, beyond the filmmaking, your website lists that you do, Visible Layers offers custom video works. Who are some of the clients in that venture?
Worked with, Junior Achievement, Baker's Speech Pathology. Jump in here, Melinda. You got a better memory of this than I do.
Sensational Kids. We've done Food, Farm, and Family. We've done Consumer Credit Counseling. We've done Smart Kids. Youth and Family Services has used us. A lot of groups have actually used the Invisible Layer services, and then used it to make videos for their website, or we've had videos on TV. And the quality of the work of these guys is just absolutely mind-boggling. It's very, very good.
That does sound amazing. You mentioned this earlier. Autism Oklahoma co-sponsors a program titled Bee's Knees with Youth and Family Services. What's that program all about?
Well, this program was born, Dee Blos birthed this program when her son and a group of 5 kids was graduating from high school and didn't have, there wasn't a lot offered for them. And so they kind of banded together and created an art club. They weren't artists, but they began using art as a communication. And these 5 kids are now, they had their 30th birthdays this year. So they were 5 kids from high school, Yukon High School, and they've stayed together all this time, and now they're turning 30. They have a huge following. They make beautiful art, and they are ambassadors for Autism Oklahoma. It just demonstrates the power of pulling your own kid and a few other kids together to create something that really is life-changing. And, I can't tell you how many times I've gone places and people will say, wait a minute, do you know do you know David Blos, or do you know this person? It's like, these kids, they really have a following. And so they have used the program to develop social skills, to develop more entrepreneurial skills. They have art shows where they've, been able to share their art with the community and talk about their art. But they also have paintings in the Capitol. They have paintings in different businesses throughout Oklahoma City, Children's Hospital, their artists featured. So they've really been able to, to share a message of, gosh, anything's possible.
Where can people purchase or individuals purchase items from Bee's Knees?
Well, we don't really have an online platform for purchasing art at this point, and we're kind of restricted because of just having the manpower for shipping. But what we do is we will publicize different art shows. One of our biggest art shows, which I'm crossing my fingers we get to have, is at the Paseo at First Friday in August. So the first Friday in August, we have an art show in the Paseo. They've called it the Big Swanky Art Show. Our artists create the works, and then they all dress up, and then they share their works at that Paseo event. We usually have about 400 people at our art show.
Do you have information about that on your website?
Oh yeah, we'll post all of those events and different things like that. Any art shows that we have, we'll post them on our website. Yeah, and our website is autismoklahoma.org. It's a brand new site, and we would really appreciate you checking it out and giving us any feedback you have.
Great. So how can someone get involved as a volunteer in some of these programs that you offered, or make donations to Autism Oklahoma?
Well, a lot of our donations happen right straight from our website, autismoklahoma.com/donate. And then same with volunteers, autismoklahoma.com/volunteer. And we usually have, this is a weird time because volunteer with not having a lot of events, it's a kind of a strange time. So we're doing a lot of kind of snail mail type programming right now, where people can volunteer to make a craft and send it to someone with autism, or they can volunteer to write a letter to someone with autism who's feeling isolated and alone. And we have, I don't know if you remember, in the church lobby, sometimes they have those Christmas trees with angels on them or stars on them, where you flip it over and there's a name of a kid and it talks about what they're interested in. We've done the same thing. We have a kind of a virtual representation of that with a Sign Up Genius. So we've gathered names of kids. We tell you what they're interested in, and you can write a letter or cut out a picture of a magazine and send it to them, or something like that makes them feel connected and less isolated. So we're doing a lot of that. So those are kind of our volunteer opportunities now. Soon we'll hopefully have volunteer opportunities for the Peace Walk, because that takes a ton of volunteers to run. And we'll have volunteers for the Green Tea and also for Swanky this early fall, assuming that we get to open up all of our programs again.
So you mentioned connecting with your members and having that social aspect, and that's kind of limited because of the coronavirus. How are you working around that? How are you continuing to connect with some of your people within your organization?
Well, Zoom. I mean, that's our big platform for really connecting like this. We're experimenting with some connection circles with Zoom. We've been doing some, and we're doing some more. And that's a big deal. And then, like I mentioned, we do have campaigns for crafts, for letters, for send a joke, for different things that we can do via mail and other things. But it is a difficult time right now to connect because there's not very many options, mail or computer. Those are kind of our options. So yeah, it's different, very different.
Again, tell us your website, autismoklahoma.org. Is that correct?
Yes, that's our website.
What am I leaving
Autism
out?
Oklahoma.
What does the future hold for Invisible Layers or Autism Oklahoma? What are some things that you want my listeners to know about?
One thing I just thought of, this is as you were not specifically that question, but Zach is also doing a series of bedtime stories to kids with autism, which is so amazing and so much fun. And that's another thing we're doing because of coronavirus, a way we're reaching out and sharing, which is really fun. And then we're doing things like share your talent, post your talent to Facebook. And then we're, having those as conversation pieces for people. So we're trying to do as much as we can via Facebook. Also, I left out that platform with the bedtime stories and some of the share your talent. What you're leaving out, I think Zach could speak to a couple of other films that are available on his site now, because I think since we've talked the last time, we've actually released another film.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
It was written and directed and starred by one of the students from Invisible Layers. It's called The Girl and the Green Sword. It's a 30-minute short film, and it's you can find it on the site or on our YouTube page. And we're really proud of it. Bruce Fry wrote, directed, and starred in it. And I think he belongs to Shawnee's Little Theater. And so he was able to kind of round up some really good actors to star in it from, just that community theater. And so it just turned out to be a really great film. So, definitely please go watch it. I definitely know he would appreciate it. And
it's available now?
Yeah, you can watch. Yeah, we put it up on our YouTube, Autism Oklahoma's YouTube site, or you can just go to autismoklahoma.org and then go to the film program, and then, you'll see it there.
Nice. I've had the opportunity to see your revamped website, and it looks really great.
Good.
One of the things I notice is programs that involve animals. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, my daughter certainly was affected by having a dog in her life that was a service dog, and it just really completely changed our life as a family, because the dog became a service dog and then allowed us to go out into the community and to travel and to do some things we weren't able to do. We know that dogs is another interest area that can really be impactful for someone with autism. And so we've done some programming when we could do programming by partnering with the Humane Society and doing dog introductions to people who have been afraid of dogs. And so we've been doing some desensitizing, and then also some dog matching where we could work with the Humane Society and actually help match a dog to a family so that they could have a pet that would work for them. Sometimes the last thing a family needs is a dog that doesn't fit into, they've got a kid with autism, and you don't want to compound things by bringing in a dog that doesn't work with their family or isn't trained to the extent that it can be a blessing to their family, but it's more of a problem. So our vision is to continue with some programming like dog matching and dog training so that families and people with autism can really have that bond with an animal that is so life-changing.
I appreciate you both taking the time. You both should be applauded for the things you do, not only in the Oklahoma City area, but statewide. And I hope you guys continue to grow and connect to the community. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day and stay safe.
All right, you too.
Autism Oklahoma is a truly great organization that offers lots of programs for individuals on the spectrum and the population at large. Autism Oklahoma embodies a quote that I came across by Dr. Temple Grandin. There needs to be a lot more emphasis on what a child can do instead of what a child cannot do. No truer words have been spoken in our continuous effort to become human together.